Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tub Takes. This is a weekly video podcast where we talk about all of the latest and greatest happenings in VGC. And this week, we have a special guest. That's right, we have your Portland Regional Champion, Alex Underhill. How are you doing?
True, I'm feeling still so special. I think we have an even more special guest this time. Why don't we go ahead and introduce them next?
That's right. We have the runner-up of the European International Championships. We have Tim. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. I still haven't had time to let it all sink in yet, but it's been a surreal week. I couldn't be happier to be on as a longtime fan, and it's really exciting to be on the other side of things with you guys. Thanks again for the invite.
Of course, it's great to have
We're
you.
happy to have you.
Yeah, like I said before the show, I've been a big fan of yours for the last 4 days now. So yeah, it's also great to finally meet you. And yeah, I guess for those, do you want to give everyone a quick intro? I guess you aren't actually that well known, so and I don't know how much introduction you got to do in your interviews.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to miss the underdog story, not gonna lie, where I'm gonna be at Orlando Regionals this weekend. I committed to the back-to-back, where it was originally a very critical point of my season to get enough points for Worlds, but now I've locked that, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people there who would take a lot of pleasure in knocking me out. But again, my name's Tim. I've been playing competitive since last May. I attended the Hartford Regionals as my first regional. I've been following VGC since late Sword and Shield, right after the Players Cup 2, and participated in things like Players Cup 3 and 4, and global challenges. So I have been following the scene for a few years now, but I'm only participating since last May, so a little under a year at Hartford. And my first day two was Toronto Regionals this season, so it was definitely funny seeing all of these Worlds caliber players who had these crazy achievements to their name when they were put on stream, and then you just saw my top 32 Toronto Regionals, so relatively new player, and I definitely felt pretty confident going into this event, but I was just hoping for 6-3 or 7-2, and once I made day two, I was pretty happy, and then I top cut and was pretty happy, and then I was in day three, which wasn't even a thought in my mind when I was scheduling my flights, which did need to be rescheduled to Monday morning. Everything worked out nicely.
Yeah. So congratulations on your run. And yeah, let's jump in. We're definitely going to talk a lot more about the European Championships and your run there. But first, we got, I guess, some other quick talking points that we wanted to get through. First, some housekeeping, I guess. I guess this is more than housekeeping. I don't know if there's any signups that are coming up, but Hong Kong
I didn't think
Nationals.
there was.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I went and double checked, but yeah. So if anybody knows about any signups, feel free to let us know so we can get the word out for people. But
I think
let's
all
talk
the
about this
NA
Hong
events
Kong.
have had signups, and all the special events have had signups. So I think the Bologna Italian
Today is our
special
last
event.
regional, right?
Yep, and there was an Italian special event that had signups
Okay.
today, but at this point it's sold out. So I'm sorry if you missed it.
No, Saudi cutting out pretty bad. Hopefully it turns. Hopefully it gets better. Let's see.
Hello, better?
You can't hear Audi. Tip.
No, I can't either.
Is this any better? Hello, hello.
It does. It just happens. Unfortunate.
What is happening?
Actually, yeah, just cannot hear him at all. Audi, are you saying anything?
Yes, I'm saying things. Yeah, and Discord's having the green thing around it too.
I don't know if it's better when I host. But
Stream can hear me.
I can get going here real quick.
Hello.
I don't really
Hello?
do this. How do we put this?
I can
over here?
hear Audie, but his video is
Sorry about
flashing.
this, Tim.
My video is flashing.
Oh, it's no worries.
Oh, why is my video flashing? Okay, hold on. Stupid
Yeah.
thing.
Not
Hello?
not hearing anything from you, Audi, unless hello.
Is this better?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, you know what? It might have been something with my camera, because as soon as I disconnected my camera, it seems to be working, and apparently my video is flashing while you were complaining, so it might have been related to that. But if this is gonna work, this is fine.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think maybe my webcam has a mic too, so maybe the webcam mic, I don't know, was trying to take over. I don't know. But okay. So y'all can hear me. Let me know if it cuts out again. It sounds like stream has not missed anything. So because they can hear me
it seems
and
like
they
it's
can hear you.
A Discord thing, or maybe related to your mic. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Hong Kong. So,
So
Hong
go
Kong
ahead.
National is in June, and it's going to be playing Regulation F. Like, as far as I know, Reg G starts in May. Like, we're gonna be playing like a month of that, and then going into June. What are the exact dates on this? I don't know if I see it anywhere in the image. Let me open this link.
I think it's 6-9, right?
9, yeah, it looks like 6-9, yeah. So a couple like over a week into June and still playing Regulation F. That I feel like that might just be an error.
So
Unless they're like, go
there,
ahead.
there's been a lot of like miscommunications in the last couple of years with Asian nationals. There was the one that I think one of them said it was going to be open team sheet, and then said that actually open team sheet means you get to see team preview. Remember that? So
Yeah, that was good.
Sometimes they just like straight up lie. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they just did feel like playing Reg F. Like I feel like there was, I don't know. I don't think this has happened before, other than there's one time this happened. I feel like there's one time this happened. Oh, it was the Players Cup 2 qualifiers. Do you remember that? Where it was Series 6 was the official format, but they accidentally made the ladder tournament in Series 5. That was the one time I could think of where I've seen something like this happen.
Right. Yep, I remember that. I do still stand by thinking that was an error.
I think it was too.
Yeah, I think somebody built the tournament and then they already started taking signups and they couldn't reroute the signup, so they couldn't like tell people to sign up for a different tournament because of their mistakes. So they just lived with it. I feel like a lot of stuff in Pokemon happens that way, where they just like are unwilling to go back on anything, and so they're just like, "This is your new reality." It's just funny.
And we'll see. I'm hoping maybe someone shows up with a restricted Pokemon and gets away with it, right? And they just like, yeah, of course that Pokemon's legal. It's legal by VGC
I was
rules.
like, might as well try it. I've been using it on Battle Stadium, but yeah, I think that's like the biggest crime is that like this will not be the format that matches Battle Stadium. Like what?
And they have to play in the World Championships, which is a different format. And like, how do you practice this format if no one else in the entire world is playing it? But you want to know my other maybe hot take about this news is that maybe, just maybe, this is foretelling that Reg F will come back. Because remember, the National Dex format Series 9 that we had in Series 7 in Sword and Shield did come back as Series 9. It was the exact same format. We had a repeat with one restricted format in between the two. So maybe this is hinting at the fact that we'll get a Redux in the fall of next year. Who knows?
Right. No, that's a good point. People were saying, like, we're at 1 restricted, things are going so fast, like, we're going to be at 2 restricted, like, way too early and playing it next year at Worlds. We still might be playing it next year at Worlds, but it might be that they do some kind of, like, formats in the middle there, whether it's a mythical format, a double restricted, a no Terra format, or a repeat of something we've already done. There's a lot of things to speculate there, of course.
Or like a Legend ZA format when we
Right.
have that game and Mons can transfer over.
Well, so this would be a nice little holdover until we can do that, right? And then we can actually have a 1 restricted format that includes some more restricteds. See, it all comes together. We're piecing it together. But yeah, I don't know. I think that at this point, like, I don't know how much more there is to say about the incompetence of TPC, especially outside of Japan, where it seems like there's just not a lot of coordination with those local tournament organizers. So yeah, I feel for all the players who live in Southeast Asia and have to deal with this and try to keep playing Pokemon despite this terrible organization. I feel like we talk about something like this every month.
Maddie, before you typed your second sentence, I was going to respond to the first part and say that would be the dream, but then you already confirmed that, yes, that is the dream. Like, man, if we could just have, like, a format where we get rid of all the cringe mons. Let's just get rid of, like, let's just have a council, a vote. Let's smog on this shit. And just get rid of all of the, like, annoying guys, like Urshifu and Paradoxes and whatever.
Like my EYC team, pretty much.
Yeah, you're part of the problem. This is your fault. No.
Okay, I will say I was going through the Limitless tournaments a little while ago, and I saw this one that does fit the description. They actually had a rule set. They only had 4 players playing in it, but yeah, like this is the format, right? Regulation A, but no sub legends or rune Pokemon or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
wait, what are sub legends?
Sub legends, Landorus, or Urshifu.
Oh, those guys. Wait, Landorus and Urshifu are sub legends, and then are the ruins legends, or are they sub legends as well?
I guess they're different. I don't know. Am I not sharing my screen anymore? I can do that again.
No, you're not. Yeah. But I was just looking on the stream.
Yeah. Sorry. But yeah, I'm just going off what this says. But so someone else had the same idea as you and hosted a tournament at the very least. I don't think that there were very many players, but yeah, I don't think there were very many players. But cool idea. I agree. I think it'd be a really cool format to have.
Right. Yeah.
But with that, I think we could probably move on to the next topic. I think we can only complain about TPC for so long, and that is the Perth regionals that are upcoming. So we don't normally do a full preview for Australian regionals, but yeah, this weekend there's going to be a regional out in Perth. Now, notably, there are 236 slots, and I checked earlier, and signups are still open. You can still sign up. So if you really want points, go to Perth. I don't know, free $6,000, right? Notably, Perth is if you don't know Australian geography very well, Perth is on the west coast of Australia, and everyone lives in the east or southeast. So it is one of the harder events for the Australian community to get to as well. I think, which is probably why
west is left or right.
It actually kind of depends on which way you're facing, but like judging from where the sun is in your window, coming from I think it's actually probably up for you.
The sun is above my window?
Yeah, that's why it's up.
Oh, so it's up. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But anyways, Perth's coming up, and I also wanted to sneak in here that that the other one, the Sao Paulo regional, is coming up. This is actually the last event in Australia this year?
This is the last event in Australia this year. Of course, 8 Australians did qualify for a travel award to NAIC. We'll see how many of them actually go, but this is the last chance for a lot of these players to secure a free trip to Hawaii, or to potentially, I think the bar is 300, so potentially to get the last few points. Of course, they will have locals too, but potentially get the last few points they need to secure a Worlds invite. So, this is a big deal for the Australian community for sure.
Do you think they will bring OCIC back?
Dates get dropped yet?
Right. Where's the OCIC dates? Gotta ask Taylor Swift whenever they're hosting their joint things. I feel like Taylor's always there. But
speaking of,
I don't know. Will they bring
news,
back OCIC? Hold on. Wait, somebody did ask. Do you think they'll bring it back?
No, I don't think they'll bring it back.
I think that they probably they tried, and then I don't know. I guess it just didn't work out for a lot of the region. I guess. I don't know. They just don't get a lot of support.
Now, my hot take is I pulled up the NA leaderboard. Removing OCIC has completely disrupted the balance of the North American Day 2 leaderboard, or top 12 leaderboard, because it used to be that West Coast players went to OCIC and East Coast players went to EUIC. And so it kind of evened out. And so it was but now you look at the standings, I think there's only 2 West Coast players in the top 12. It's all East Coast because they had an extra internet.
Back up your data. We had OCIC the year before, right?
Yep. And that we did. And that was the year that Gavin steamrolled through Day 2. It was like of the top 8, 4 of the top, or 6 of the top 8, something stupid like that, had gotten points at OCIC.
I know. I'm saying go back, and I want to see, is it like an even split between East and West? Look at the top 8.
Yeah, 2023.
So for 2023, I want to.
So Gavin, Alberto, Zach, and Raghav were all West Coast, and these 4 were all East Coast. So it was actually an even split.
So you're 4 and 4. Oh my god.
That
is so funny.
The next 6 are all East Coast, but in fact, the next highest West Coast player, I'm still scrolling, is Neil. I think it's at 24, but But yeah,
So you're calling it West Coast internets and East Coast internets?
yeah, that's what it was. It was we all called OCIC the California Regionals. I mean, the California internets, right? Like, so that's the one OCIC take I have. I think it's probably for the better than it's gone.
Hey, you know what? You know what? West Coast gets Worlds this year. So at least there's that. There'll be
East Coast gets internets and Midwest gets screwed.
Yep. That's true. That's true. Okay, so, but yeah, the next weekend there's a regional in Sao Paulo. We'll probably preview that really quick next weekend, but it's going to be Reg F, and I don't want to talk about much Reg F anymore. we'll talk about it today, but after that, I'm ready to be done.
We'll give a quick recap for Orlando for sure, at the very least.
Oh yeah, we have to talk about that too. Ugh. Anyways,
sorry, Tim, were you saying something?
But yeah. So,
well, at least I guess we don't have to play Reg F till June, like Hong Kong, right? We
Yeah,
just have the
God.
last week or so.
I don't want to think about that.
Yeah. So I guess with that, I don't know. Do you want smart money for Perth? Anyone got smart money?
I will smart money the person I'm coaching that's going to that one. So why not?
You're not going to name drop him? Just the person you're coaching?
I could. I just don't know. Like, is it kosher to name drop people?
If you don't want to, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right, Tim, who's your smart money?
We're gonna win though.
To be honest, I only know a few players from Australia, but I know Megan Rattle is a consistent Worlds player. So
Good shout.
I'll go with them.
All right, I have the preview page pulled up, and it says that that Alistair is the 3-time Perth regional champion. So I'm gonna go with Alistair Sandover. That seems like a safe bet. Yeah, I put Prep it. No, that's not true. I read the. I have it pulled up.
Good pick.
Yeah. So all right. That's the really important smart money. Certainly the EUIC smart money was entirely unimportant. Fraudulent, in fact, I would say. But
let's go ahead and talk about UIC though.
Yeah. So actually, Alex, do you want to put in a link for the World States? Because I realize we have to talk about that at some point too. That also happened at EUIC.
Oh, true. I'll go find that for you.
But yeah, so EUIC happened, and we not only have, of course, the results of the tournament. And Tim, I'm excited to hear about your experience at the tournament. I guess first we should talk about some of the issues that happened before we jump into the teams itself and we dive into that. So a few players, I think there were 3 players who got a round 1 loss due to RK9 error. It was Chemo, it was Emilio, and it was one other player. They said that they submitted their team sheets, and it said submitted on RK9, but it wasn't, like, it didn't go through or something, and so they didn't have team sheets for round 1, and they weren't in the tournament for round 1, and so they started 0-1. I know Emilio was really upset about that. I know Chemo was really upset about that. I don't know the third person, but yeah, it's I can't believe that this happens, especially at an international level, and I gotta believe it's an Arcanine error. It's like, come on, man, fix your platform.
Conspiracy against Emilio. He doesn't deserve this, man.
Alex, if you're talking, you're muted.
I guess I hit some key on my computer that muted me. Huh? I don't know what setup I have for that. Funny. But yeah, that's brutal. That is just so brutal that happened to Emilio. Like, come on, man. He comes back from Worlds after, getting his run ruined like that, to just get his run ruined here.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking because he's just like, one of the GOATs, but, and could have finally had like a... I mean, he's already gotten second at Worlds, but he wanted to, get back there and was just robbed of it. Anyways, he hasn't played anything since then, right? I think.
Nope, this is his first time back. I think his mentality is, hey, I've accomplished everything there is to accomplish at the regional level. I want Internats win, I want a Worlds win. Those are the two things. And so, yeah, it's really unfortunate, and it's one of those things where, like, I don't know. Arcanine seems like it's a website made by like a couple people. Like, it's contracted out. They did a really good job, honestly, because I remember back in Gen 7, like, we didn't have that, right? We didn't have that consistently. It was just such a mess with like different organizers use different platforms. Sometimes it was just paper pairings. Like, the existence of Arcanine has been a blessing in a lot of ways, but Pokemon has clearly outgrown the point where, like, can be a passion project by one or two people. We've seen a number of like issues with it that just like it kind of just breaking and not being ready to deal with a system that needs to handle like literally thousands of people signing up at the same time, like thousands of people submitting team sheets and deck lists and all that stuff. And if there's going to keep being problems that, especially at an international level, people have played, hundreds of dollars for these flights, and for things to happen, it's unacceptable. And I think that at some point, it's like Play Pokemon just has to, or the Pokemon company has to take it into their own hands, basically, right? Like take kind of stop outsourcing this and do it themselves. I think that's really the only solution at this point. Mm-hmm. Because they have the budget for it, right? Like that's, yeah.
Right. What was the Jody thing? Was this
so the other thing was
the Bolt mirrors.
Jody was complaining that, and I wasn't there, but I'm curious, Tim, if you had this experience. That is it true that like every round took extremely long?
It not only was true, but between the 15 rounds of day 1 and 2 Swiss, I think I was the last one to finish maybe like 5 of those times.
Oh my god, it's your fault.
So, I had probably about 40% of my matchups this weekend be the Bolt Mirror too. So by the time that I got against Alex Gomez, I knew how to play the matchup at that point. But there are a lot of Bolt Mirrors. I was definitely part of the problem, and I don't think I had time to use a bathroom break until probably like round 5. So
no,
it was a long weekend to say the least.
This is why people don't play Balance. It's not that they can't play; it's that they don't want to. They want to get done. They want their lunch break. But yeah, this is one of those things where, again, this is a recent change. They removed the overall round timer post pandemic, right? Or did they have it in 2022 and removed it in 2023? I forget. Alex, you remember?
I'm thinking that we didn't have it. I think it was when we came to the new generation.
I think so.
Maybe.
It might have also been 2020. I don't remember if like Collinsville had it or Dallas had it, but regardless, it like for me at least, it feels pretty new. Like Gen 7 at least had an overall round timer that kind of handled this, and we consist now. This is like at first it was like, oh, it's just the Dozo mirror. It's like it's not going to be that common, and now it's like it just feels like every couple of months, every second regulation, we either have like the super toxic format where it's all Taunt Urshifu, or we get this and it's like, yeah, it's not the worst format, but the games are going to last forever and the tournaments are going to last forever. And it's like, can we bring back round timer? I kind of want that back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, having some consistency as to when things end would be nice, just because. Yeah, like when you finish early and there's a long round and it's going really, really long, it just feels so frustrating, so stalling for the momentum of everything. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a great solution. There's a lot of other things that I want back first that are like more inside the game things, but like, oh, man, I'm missing like battle box locking and the other things. I know it's a different issue entirely. People are also, it was kind of a hot topic on Twitter this week. People were talking about they're tired of like the top 8 record not being people just bubbling out of top 8 after so much, and people are trying to talk about like what are the alternate solutions, and I think that I think that's like an interesting thing to look at, just because the tournaments are getting bigger. If they keep going this way, we are going to have to figure out how to deal with the size in a number of ways, whether it's the Arcanine signups and issues, or the rounds taking long, or people missing cut. These are all things that people want to see solutions for. I hope that they're like thinking about making big changes for like future seasons. I remember that we had that break in, what was it, 2022? Post Worlds?
Yeah, Post Worlds 2022. Yeah.
They were like, all right, we're going to revamp everything, and then they just didn't change it.
So for what it's worth, I heard that they were hiring someone in that period, and so they were hoping to change it next season. And this year, they did actually have pretty big changes, right, to a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, true.
So I think that's what they were kind of hinting at. Now, if they really want to do big changes, they can do what I suggested and do 25 rounds of best of one. It takes less time, right? Yeah, you get bigger sample size. Alternatively, Lorcana, the Disney card game, is now using best of 2. And
Ooh,
I think best
okay.
of two closed team sheet. I'm just totally off topic, but best of two closed team sheet. Hear me out, because game one is totally you don't know what's going on, right? And then game two, the way Lorcana works, whoever wins game two, that actually counts as a higher tiebreaker. So you could 2-0 someone, and you get 2 points, and you get 2 points, and they get 0. Or you can 1-1 someone, but if you win the second game, it's worth a little more.
What?
Yeah, because now they can't cheese you. It's open to it's not open to cheat.
I get
but
it.
yeah, it counts more now that you know your opponent's doing.
I'll cheese you twice, but also, I gotta say, as you said, closed team sheet. Now I'm on board, man. I miss closed team sheet. That stuff was bait.
Best of two closed team sheet. That's the format. You said big changes. I've got the big changes for you.
That's what everyone's asking for. This is what everyone wants to see. Is closed team sheet best of two. Okay. But yeah, the logistical issues aside, let's talk about the actual results of the tournament. So, yeah, it was large enough to get 6 rounds in day 2, right? Which means that a total of 15 rounds were played across day 1 and day 2, and then the 3 rounds of top 8 or top cut. So 18 rounds total for Tim here. How are you feeling after 18 rounds in a single weekend?
I still haven't caught up on my
Or was
sleep,
it
and I have
17?
my
17?
flight in 2 days for Orlando
15?
as well. So I am pretty exhausted. Not only having the back-to-back, but we already talked about the length of the rounds too. But obviously, I'm super excited. But it was definitely very tiring.
Yeah, I imagine. Now you made it into day 2, or so you made it into top 8 at a 13-2 record. What was your day 1 record?
I started 8-0, and then I played Medina at the table 1 to finish the day, where lost a close set. So I finished day 1 8-1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, I guess
Go ahead, Adi.
yeah. You don't have to walk us through every game. In fact, please don't walk us through every game. That would take a very long time. But if you have, do you want to give us a quick recap of your experience?
Yeah, like the highlights,
Yeah, cool.
stuff like that.
Yeah, I think starting off, my round 1 and round 2 were both sets that I fell down 1 game to 0, and
Mm.
in game 2 as well, I was extremely behind in those games, and it was just that feeling that you have early in the day that you're already going to let the day slip away, falling that far behind. But I pulled off really great comebacks in those sets, and then I proceeded to win sets 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 2-0. So
Nice.
I didn't drop a game from round 2 all the way up to round 8. And yeah, like I mentioned before, about 40% of my run was the Raging Bolt Mirror, which I think my booster flutter was definitely like a really big difference maker in those matchups. Just being able to swap into the Dragon Pulses once the Bolt is set up and trying to attack some of my partners, and then they're in a position where their bolt isn't doing any damage to my 2 slots, and I'm taking out all of their resources. So that was definitely a tech in the matchups that was very helpful into a lot of them, and just had a lot of practice playing those. But yeah, I would say a couple matches that were the most exciting for me were uh, losing to Medina after starting 8-0. I was walking back to the hotel really satisfied with my start, where I was hoping for a 6-3 or a 7-2 day 1, and I obviously exceeded that by winning the 8th round. But I couldn't help but have this feeling like I let an opportunity slip away, beating a top player like him, finishing the first day undefeated, and even heading into day 2 with that better of a record with a chance at cut. So I really wanted the opportunity to rematch him, which I did have. And that was probably the win that made me realize that I had a chance at cut, where heading into day 2, I thought I accomplished everything I could, and it was kind of a wrap from there. But there were so many points in my run that I thought I was finished. Another one was my top 8 set against Davide, who was running the Gouging Fire um, Dragonite combination, which my team really struggles into the double dragon. It turns out Fire Water Grass and then Fire Grass doesn't hit Dragon too well. Another set that I fell down 1-0, and this one was on the side stream, and it was pretty hype here in the USA chance when I pulled off the comeback as the last American to stay alive in the tournament. And then, yeah, the top four match, had to be my favorite of the weekend. The Ogerpon survival on that double up from the Urshifu Aqua Jet and +2 photosynthesis boosted Thunderclap. Sending me to Championship Sunday was definitely a really special moment. But all in all, it definitely stings coming so close to taking the title home. But I think Niles had a really great meta call for the weekend. He was 2 of my 3 losses from the entire weekend. I just didn't have an answer into him. Tougher matchup, but he also played it phenomenally and definitely very well deserved. But to a lot of the new players who watched players like Justin Tang last season and Sempra last season, I was hoping to be like them this season, and this was not something I expected by any means, but just got on a hot streak there and continued that much longer than I ever expected.
It's such a fun season to follow. We've seen a good amount of old school players getting wins, and then still the new players. It's just it's not the time to be a middle of the pack player. If you've been playing for 5 years, that's tough. You know, you gotta get 5 more or 5 less.
The problem is if you've been a middle of the pack player for the last maybe I don't know give it 6 or 7 years now, you're just gonna keep being a middle of the pack player. You're gonna keep going 6-3. Sometimes you're gonna go 7-2. Maybe get top 32. Sometimes you get top 120.
Middle child
syndrome. And eventually you grind it out. You get your Worlds invite. But then you win Worlds, right? That's the important part.
Right.
Now
I'm not going to lead us in the chat. Actually, how much practice did you have in the matchup against Nils the night before finals?
I had practice with a lot of top NA players. That was pretty crazy having them come up to me and help me out. So my thought process heading into finals was I needed to position my Ogerpon Hearthflame in an offensive position where his Incineroar couldn't come in and intimidate and fake it out. And I had the opportunity, of course, to analyze my previous set against him, since I did play him in Day 2 Swiss, and took some notes on how he approached that matchup, and obviously considered all of those leads. So I was up pretty late that night, between just the nerves and prepping with my group. He definitely came in with a couple different strategies than I was expecting him to, and I knew that it was a matchup that I needed to make some heavy reads to take out some of his resources and kind of overcome the matchup, and he definitely called every read that I tried to make there. So definitely not a very well played finals, but as much practice as you could, and I did feel like the 24 hours to prepare was helpful for me, where the last time I played him in Day 2 Swiss, I didn't have a lot of practice before this weekend into his team.
And like you said, you played 4 or 5 balance mirrors. I think I looked at Alex's schedule. I think he also played 4 or 5 balance mirrors. And I mean, Nils' team, that matchup looked so rough for you. And I'm sure I haven't looked at his schedule yet, but I feel like he must have been farming that all day too. I feel like he picked this team out to hunt out that matchup. And you look at his run. I mean, I don't think he lost to it the entire tournament. So no shame in losing to it. I think he looked at this format. He made a Medic call and said, "Wow, this is going to be really common in Europe at a UIC. How do I tech my team out to just be so hard to beat for that kind of standard balance score?"
Yeah, the bear is a good balance breaker. It just does so much damage. It's cool to see Ursaluna finally take a major tournament. I don't know if we've seen it win a big tournament before this point, since it became legal in Regulation E. Was it? No, it was legal for D.
It was legal for Worlds, yeah. It,
Um, but I
I
don't think
don't.
we've seen a big finish from it yet.
No, no, because all the Reg D, Reg E formats are run by the same team, which was the CNV team. So yeah, it couldn't break through that, but it can break through Raging Bolt.
There's another question in chat that's a bit more about a specific turn. So in the previous is the previous experience like in that day two matchup that you played, the reason you moon blasted the Ursaluna in game one? It felt risky, but seemed like it was a read.
Yeah, sure. I think there were a couple reads that I've kind of played back in my mind that I could have done a little differently. So game two, he led Flutter Amoonguss, which was not a lead that I was expecting from him, but I did feel that it was pretty expected for him to lead the Incineroar on his side, which he did pretty much every game that we played in day two. So I felt like I had a pretty decent position when I protected the Flutter, calling the Shadow Ball, and parting shotted his Flutter to get my Ogerpon onto the field in that position that I was mentioning before. And I knew the Flutter was protecting there, and I launched the Moonblast and Terrafire Stomping Tantrum into Incineroar. When I think a more safe play there would have been to taunt the Incin so it couldn't parting shot, and Ivy Cudgel as well to cover the swap into Amoonguss. So I think at this point Niles definitely did get in my head a little bit. I think there were definitely a big mix-ups that he had from our day two Swiss rounds to finals. I think he was one step ahead of me with every read that I tried to make or did not try to make. So not only did I think he made a really strong meta call, I think he played a phenomenal tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But very well deserved on his end.
Mm-hmm.
Let's with that though, let's go ahead and talk about the actual teams. I don't know if we've opened up and talked about Nils' team specifically, but it's not quite something we've seen literally throughout this whole format, but it's kind of a balanced take on the bear. Usually you see Ursaluna paired with Cresselia, and this team has Earthquake on it with half of a partner. You can protect your Fluttermane or your Amoonguss if you want an Earthquake. Otherwise, Porygon can Terra Flying, and that's it. You have to Earthquake on turns that you think your opponent's going to KO your Pokemon. You can also Terra Grass your Incineroar to resist it. And I think Nils also showed a willingness to Earthquake his own Amoonguss. I think that's like another key thing about using Ursaluna is knowing when to Earthquake yourself, and just take it, just take the damage. Terra Flying P2 also pretty cool though. We've seen a lot of Terra Flying or Terra Poison, Terra Blast, but less Terra Flying. But when that's another move that can hit a Moongus for big damage, that's really helpful for a team that might want to operate in and out of Trick Room.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, just in general, right? Ursaluna, it can't hit grass types very effectively, and so that's always one of the priorities. Hitting Ogerpon, really trying to the synergy with Earthquake is so cool because not only do you get that pin, right? You get the flying ground pin that is so effective into all the grass types that might want to switch into Ursaluna, create those mind games with Ursaluna, and then similarly. Again, the other type that really wants to switch into ground type moves is flying, and so Ice Beam also can cover that. So Porygon 2 really just creating a really strong pin with Ursaluna. Similarly, again, you notice the Amoonguss doesn't have Pollen Puff like you normally expect on a team like this. It has Sludge Bomb. This team is all in on hitting those grass types that otherwise might be able to stop Ursaluna and really putting Ursaluna. I didn't get to see many of Nils' games. I watched finals and I think top 4, but I got to imagine that Sludge Bomb and Moongus putting things in range of Ursaluna's was really important for him in Trick Room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the Porygon 2 definitely brings a lot more of an offensive pressure than the Cresselia teams. And I think the substitute flutter was something that we saw Neil run at Vancouver as well that I think feels really strong on these sets that can obviously afford it, not being the choice specs, where it gives you a good Amoonguss answer as well, but into the Raging Bolt teams. That's another set that I think is really strong on his team.
And I mean,
Yeah.
there's only really one major tournament. Well, I guess Hong Kong Nationals, but there's really only one major tournament left in Reg F, which is Orlando. I know also Sao Paulo, I guess as well, and Perth, I guess as well. Yeah, probably shouldn't diminish those, and maybe a special event. I don't actually know, but like Orlando, the really last really big major to expect, and I would not be shocked to see this team be present because I think that we saw the balance team everywhere, and of course, why wouldn't you take the team that beats the balance team? That Ursaluna is a fan favorite. This is not as easy to play, I think, as some of the other Ursaluna teams. This team looks like you have to really take your time, position well, despite not having tools like Pollen Puff or safety goggles that other versions of those type of Ursaluna teams played. So it might, Nils is one of the best players ever, right? He played so well the entire weekend. It was incredible to watch his top 4 in finals match. But yeah, like it's gonna be a hard team to play, but it would not surprise me at all to see a lot more Ursaluna going into Orlando regionals.
Let's talk about Tim's team. Tim, you've mentioned some parts of your team here, but I don't know if we talked about it in full. And honestly, as boring as it is, there are a number of things here that like help it stand out. I just want to point out those things, and then I'll ask you about them. Of course, not launching into a full team report or anything, but just quickly, like you have the Stomping Tantrum on Ogerpon instead of like a Follow Me. You have Sash, Water, or Shifu. Will-O-Wisp and Cinerar sees a bit of play, so it's not like the craziest thing. And then, yeah, this team definitely reminds me a lot of Aurelion Sol's team. But Aurelion Sola, but you have the you don't have like a Landorus, and instead actually he had Darker Shifu. There's actually quite a number of things that are different between them, but you had that support Flutter, which we've been seeing a lot of. But yeah, this team is again boring. You've got a lot of the strong balanced Pokemon, but you've definitely done some things slightly differently with it.
Yeah, so I was definitely struggling a lot in Regulation F at the beginning, where I was using the Nick Donnelly team and transitioning away from that to something that I felt like had a little bit more stability, was a little less read heavy, and struggling to find a team. I experimented with the Luca Trejude Gouging Fire team, the Tolar Web Voldengo team, and they're all feeling okay, but didn't feel like something I wanted to continue with. And eventually I saw the Casti team, and that was really the first team in the format that I was vibing with, and I felt like I was playing well with. So that being the Flutter, Lando Eye, Dark Urshi, AV Bolt, Incineroar, and Ogerpon Wellspring. So I used that team in 3 mid-season showdowns last month, and top cut 2 out of the 3. But it was the last midseason that I played before EUIC where I saw Raghav's Vancouver team, which I felt like was a more updated version of what I had been using. I was nervous to make a change so last minute, but it did feel really strong. And ultimately, like my starting point with this team was I really liked the support Flutter with Icy Wind, enabling the Ogerpon Hearthflame very well as the Urshifu Rapid Strike. But it was very important to me to have a strong backbone on the team, and I don't think there's any better than the Incin and Rillaboom combination. And what I was most worried about with this, yeah, say so. And a matchup that I was worried about, even though it felt like it was dying down a little bit, was the Tailwind teams. So I felt Raging Bolt was super important in those matchups, and of course synergized really well with the Rillaboom and Incin, who also supported the Urshifu really well. So it felt like there was a lot of synergy on the team. It felt like it was a combination of the Raging Bolt balance, kind of mixed with the Wolfie 6, and then like an Icy Wind mode on the side. But it felt like I was able to bring different modes into opponents that I played. A lot of flexibility to get me out of bad situations. The Stomping Tantrum on Hearthflame was really important to me when I dropped Landorus Incarnate on my team, which I was very worried about heading into EUIC. And the Focus Sash Urshifu, I think, I mean, the first thought is, of course, to live Thunderclap no matter what, even if they do go booster special attack, which was a common call this weekend. It just felt really good in general. Next to Icy Wind Flutter, always being able to live a hit, even into Trick Room matchups. Once again, always being able to live one hit and potentially stall out Trick Room better. And Knockoff also felt like good utility on the team when you also had the Fire Stab and Hearth Flame, which made it a little bit less necessary. So that was kind of a thought process on my prep leading up, some of those small details, and just generally how the different modes of the team synergize well together.
Mm-hmm.
And so, did you said you had not practiced the balance mirror that much going to the tournament. Did you expect it to be as common as it was?
I expected it to be pretty common, but I think it was even a little bit more common than I expected. Um, I do think on the um, Bolt balance teams, the Flutter edition felt really strong for those mirrors. Had practiced it a little bit, but I think I played it even more than expected.
Hmm. And I mean, even I remember watching your top four set and thinking, wow, you're like, I mean, you played it so well, and it was very clear that you'd played that matchup so many times at that point. But it also was like, wow, like you when you play it well, your team is built in a way where you shouldn't ever lose to Alex's team. It just felt like that. You had the inevitability with your leftovers Raging Bolt, and he had booster energy, I think. So it was really interesting to see over the course of the tournament all the interactions between all these micro decisions that all these balanced players made. You know, both of the last two slots, all their item choices, all the decisions, and especially how they come into play in the mirror. And I think you obviously came on top of all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the booster special attack is a really strong call, but definitely not so much in the mirror. I think that gave me a distinct advantage. Um, I do think another cool thing that was on some of the bulk balance team was Goldingo. This Goldingo specifically didn't have Dazzling Gleam, but a lot that I played this weekend did, which felt really strong into Raging Bolt, where you put a lot of pressure on with the Dazzling Gleams, but even if they commit the Terra to Fairy, you can punish with Make It Rain, and especially if you can get one nasty pot up and outpace their Calm Mind. So I was surprised to not see Goldingo in our top four set. That was the reason I was bringing the Ogerpon Hearth Flame in the back both games. I needed to have something to put a lot of pressure into it. But once again, I think another small decision on this team was the Clear Amulet Chen Pao, which I think is super cool. But for me, it was another thing that worked in my favor, where without Focus Sash, I was able to get rid of it a lot quicker. And I think that was probably partially the reason why Alex didn't bring it to our set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I know when I was playing the Global Challenge, every time I saw a Chen Pao just go down to a close combat or something, I was always relieved. I never saw. I was every single time I see Clear Amulet, every single time I'm just relieved. But yeah, I don't know, Alex. What do you think about Alex's team?
Yeah, I was about to point out the same things. I mean, the water Urshifu with Para Fire and Mystic Water also pretty different. Shuckaberry, Ensign, like there are a lot of like small things that separate this from other balanced teams, and this is probably the direction the format would go if we allowed it to go on for much longer, is people making small decisions to influence different matchups in ways that they like to make it more comfortable or whatnot. Um, but a lot of different takes on the same Pokemon. We saw Mystic Water Urshifu, Sash Urshifu, Scarf. Before this weekend was probably the most common one, but people trying to really go back to Urshifu's roots, just making sure that they either position it well enough so that it doesn't have to worry about getting dropped by a Flutter main or whatnot, or yeah, you can also just have the Focus Sash. Other ways to work around that too. A defensive Terra. There's a lot of cool things available to it. So,
Terrifier is really cool. Triple Terrifier, just like I think, is it's an interesting piece of counterplay to the Will-O-Wisp and Cineroar that has been so much more common this weekend, especially, right? And so knowing that you can Terrifier and switch in later on a Will-O-Wisp on one of your three Pokemon, whichever one you decide is most important, is a really cool adaptation.
Yeah, for Ensigns that earned championship points, 43 out of 109, like that's a about 40%. That's a bit more than I would have like thought overall. You know, a lot of Incins trying out Will-O-Wisp. 109 out of 109 had fake out though.
Including 3 in top 8. You know, like it was a lot. Yeah, it did really well.
Wait, I want to know the ones that didn't use parting shot or U-turn. How do I get this? I want to know. Snarl. Oh. Who was cooking? Throat chop. One of the throat chop ones didn't. Somebody who went 6 and 3 had a incident with Flare Blitz, knockoff, throat chop, fake out. Double dark? Why do you need that? I don't want to poke too much fun at somebody who did make day 2, but it's just like, what? I'm just curious. I was like, these numbers are looking weird.
Now you've nerds typed me. Now I'm looking forward to.
Okay. So the
Jerry Woods.
In terms of other,
Jerry Woods, wasn't he the Eevee guy?
Who was Jerry Woods? Maybe. Looking at other teams though, we saw Georgian. I actually don't know how to say their name.
I thought he went by Jory, right?
Yeah, I think they might just go by Jory. But Jory made top 4 with basically Scott's team. I think there was like some slight changes there. And then there is a Dogi in top 8. I don't really care to talk too much about Luca's team. It's, you know, just a different take on balanced stuff. It also has Sasha Shifu, you know. Cool. We all come to the same conclusions on boring stuff. I'm bored to tears here.
If you are going to Orlando, you should be diving into the depths of every single variant of balance and making sure that your team can play against every single variant of balance.
Every single.
I swear, if every single person is going to Orlando, I'd give them the same advice. I said just prep every single balance variant. If you can farm every balance variant, you're gonna win 4 or 5 rounds. That's pretty good. So practice. But
I think what you need to do if you're going to Orlando is look at the top 256, find every version of Incineroar, Rillaboom, or Shifu, and do a single best of 3 against each one, because you don't want to be caught off guard by different combinations of different sets, you know? So you want to make sure you play against Sash or Shifu and Wispinson, Sash or Shifu without Wispinson, Mystic Water or Shifu with Wispinson, Mystic Water or Shifu without Wispinson. Just make sure you get a single best of 3 against all those, save the replays, watch those on your drive down.
You got to make sure.
You'll be fine. What day is it? Wednesday? Yeah, you got time.
You know, if they have Belly Drum Chestnut with the Wispinson, you got to be sure to beat that.
You got to make sure you beat the Belly Drum Chestnut version.
I mean, I'm not kidding, but also like we're not going to do your homework for you, and also especially not when we are not well. Tim, you have to do your homework, but the rest of us don't have any more Reg F events, so we're not actually going to dive into the depths of the intricacies of the balance mirror, even though that's probably very important if you are going to Orlando. Okie dokie.
Talk about Diego's team though. Okie dokie, dude. There's a Dogi here. The Dogi made it deep. Yeah, we got like just not.
By the way,
super.
We got the pronunciations. It's Yorin. Yorin is what Board 2 Tier says in chat. Yorin or Yorin.
Gotcha. Yorin. I think it's more like an ein. Like, I mean, that looks like ein, like Einstein. So
okay,
that's what I'm guessing. It's like an ein.
Yorin.
Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about Diego's team. And when we're done talking about Diego's team, I want to talk about the other Diego's team. There's another Diego's team that we gotta talk about.
Tim, you played Diego in the Winnenden. So you want to start with this team?
Yeah, sure. So I was definitely happy to see him make cut. He was a really nice guy who played our set really well. But I think the Dogi definitely brings a lot to the table. Just considering some of its matchups, it gets the immediate guard dog from Incineroar. It's really strong with Poison Stab into Rillaboom, into Ogerpon. Has a pretty good matchup into Dark Urshifu and even Flutter Mains as well. So I think some of the more common mons in the format.
Don't gotta sell me on the dog. I'm a dog.
Yeah, one of my friends made day 2 with it, and I played 2 over the weekend. And one of the best strategies I could come up with was just immediately give it the guard dog boost and try to burn it and slow it down from there. But other than that, I think you see a lot of balance tools as well. I mean, I guess notably had the Hisuian Arcanine over potentially like an Incineroar, which definitely puts on a lot of threat with Choice Band as well. And yeah, Diego definitely a very accomplished player. When I did a little bit of research with him after, so happy to see him in Cup. But I think the Okie Dokie definitely matched up a lot, well into a lot of the common mons in the meta. So I think it was a pretty good call.
Yeah, I'm happy to see it doing so well. It is just like there to prey on Rillaboom, Ogerpon, Incin type teams, and so those are all very common Pokemon that it can do pretty well into. Um, it just has such like an awkward typing for people to deal with. Um, it's still funny the number of people, like the number of times I've used Okie Dokie and I have to convince myself it's not a dark type. It just looks like it should be one. I'm convinced that they made it look like a dark type so that people don't abuse that it's 4x weak to psychic. They're like, I can't psychic type. That's a dark type Pokemon. Um, but yeah, other than that, yeah, there's a lot of like standard-ish Pokemon in a decently strange composition. You don't see a lot of teams built exactly like this, but Dogi is the obvious standout there.
No, and the Landorus Arcanine Ogerpon core was way more common a little while ago, right? We saw Tio in Utrecht with that core on snow. But yeah, that has fallen off a little bit. But Okie Dokie maybe is what it takes for it to sort of come back.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It actually is just a remix of Taio's team because you have the Rillaboom that's basically a Raging Bolt. They both go for priority moves, and then the Chien-Pao is an Ice type like Ninetales, and Okidogi and Articuno are so alike.
And then Arcanine is just like Ogerpon, and I mean like the Landorus is also just like the Arcanine. So like yeah, I think it actually all lines up.
In a way, yeah. And then you got to remember that this is ultimately derivative of Rinya's Sun. It looks a lot like the Zacian. Okay, Davide's team has Ting Dozo, and it's pretty much the standard stuff. But I do want to quick mention the Dragonite. I was hearing talk about it coming out into this weekend, and people did show up with it. The Loaded Dice Dragonite. This one was gaining a lot of popularity in Japan in the Global Challenge. Somebody did very well with it in one of the ranked seasons. They like got like very high finish in the just like not like the global challenge, but just battle stadium ranked season, like when the month ends they had finished very highly, and so a lot of Japanese players were copying this exact set. They were using it on very different teams though. It was like with a speed booster flutter type lead and stuff like that, but somebody looked at that set and said, you know what, I can howl that, and it basically gives Dragonite the ability to go for choice band outrage without having to be locked in. And you get a speed boost on top of it. Scale Shot Loaded Dice is a really cool thing that we haven't seen from any Dragonites up until this point, and we could have probably at just about any point. It's been a legal set since Regulation A. It's kind of funny that we're this far into Scarlet and Violet, and this set hasn't popped up until now.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Scale Shot Loaded Dice is pretty common in singles too, right? Like a lot of Pokemon in singles like the speed boost don't care about the defense drop as much, but yeah, we have not seen Scale Shot. I mean, there's some other Pokemon that can run it, right? Baxcalibur can run it pretty well. We've seen Dragonite do it pretty well. Dragonite, especially with multi-scale, doesn't really care about the defense drop at all. Although this one obviously is inner focus in the GC, they can kind of go either way. Yeah, no, it's a strong move. We just hasn't seen as much experimentation.
I think it's been interesting to see the evolution of the Gouging Fire partners throughout this format, where very early on you saw Defiant Mons like King Gambit, you even saw Teal Mask Ogerpon. This tournament specifically, I know there were some other out there ones that I heard were lurking around. I heard there was someone running Gouging Fire plus Entei with obviously Inner Focus, which I thought was pretty based. And there was another person this tournament who ran Annihilate next to Gouging Fire too. So it's pretty funny to see the Defiant or Inner Focus partners that Gouging Fire's been paired with throughout this format.
Man, I wanted to see the Entei and Annihilate team, but I think neither got championship points. Dang. We can obviously go and dig them up.
The Annihilate team is around. There's a few of the
Annihilate did it.
None of the,
I found the ape. It's actually 3 of them.
Yeah, none of the Entei did it, but yeah, the Annihilate's got there.
Nice. That's cool. That's cool. Man, Annihilate, yeah. I like Alberto's build there. Okay, so looking at the other teams, though, Aurelion just kind of running a similar thing to what we've already seen from him. So I think jumping down, there are two Archaludon in top 16, which is pretty funny to see considering that's not a Pokemon that's been doing the hottest lately. But it did have a record good enough to make it into the cut. They just unfortunately bubbled out. This one was Terra Was the other one also Terra? No, Terra Fairy. It's always fun to see the bug Terras. But yeah, both on rain builds, nobody's surprise. And
And on a little different rain builds, I have obviously played a lot of rain, and I first off grass Urshifu super good, like that decision a lot. The crest version is very interesting. It's a lot slower, and it's I don't know like I'm it I'm struggling to see how this team maneuvers. It's very different from the like sort of hyper offensive rain builds that I am more used to. Whereas the Alberto build is sort of a more traditional rain build where you're really relying on Amoonguss and Sudowoodo as your defensive backbone, and then everything else is kind of go. With Archaludon sometimes being able to switch in to things a little more. But yeah, the Roberto team is very interesting. It's very different from what we've normally seen. Then we also see Life Orb, Terra Grass, Terra Blast, Chien-Pao as the as a set that is super out there. Also, Clear Smog Amoonguss as something else that's a little out there as well. But yeah, like it's I don't know. Yeah, thoughts on
It reminds me of the Jamie Boyd inspired Terra Electric Assault Vest, Terra Blast Chien-Pao that was brought to Worlds last year, trying to snipe down the Urshifu Rapids. But yeah, that's crazy.
yeah, I think it's notably funny that there's also another Archaludon in top 16. I didn't even notice there was a third one. And then right below Roberto is this like Psy-Spam team, Joseph Russell, that's running Rain Dance Torn. Then there's Wolf also running Rain Dance Torn. A lot of people thought that Rain was the call for this tournament, whether it was Manual or Pelipper. But yeah, I think that's just pretty silly. And then, completely flip the script with Brian Collins running a very hard Trick Room Sun team. Torkoal. No, I guess there isn't anything else here using the Sun besides Torkoal, and everything else appreciating the ability to resist surging strikes because of the damage reduction. But yeah, Brian Collins I know ran a similar team at Vancouver, and they've been cooking up those type of hard Trick Room builds. Not quite enough to make it to the top cut here, but a 12-3 record is pretty impressive for a team so dedicated to Trick Room because people always like to beat down on it.
Iron Ball Chi-Yu goes so hard.
I know you're talking about Brian, but I had to look at Casper's team. I mean, what is Iron Ball, Snarl, Nasty Plot, just like a rain team with Heat Wave. This is Combine,
awesome.
Hatteran. This is so crazy.
Yeah, this person's definitely seeing the game a little bit different, and I don't know if they see the game as different as Diego. Diego went. They're the last person in top 32. Audie, go look at Diego's team. Okay. This guy, if you play a lot of Showdown Ladder, you've fought this guy. I know this guy. Oh my god! Everyone's always posting screenshots of when they fight against them because they don't believe in the move Protect. They just they don't have it on a single Pokemon, even though they could. There are several Pokemon here that probably would like it, but they just have this, and then they have this Landorus, which inspired my Imprison tweet. I made that tweet that was like, I'm so sick of this format, and I just posted 6 different Pokemon running Imprison sets. Because this person's running Imprison Landorus Therian just to beat in Lando I. That's awesome. You just completely turn off all of its moves, and then also have Terra Blast if you want.
Yeah.
So funny.
And it looks like a variant of the same team that he used to get top 4 at Melbourne. And presumably when they travel over to, of course, that team had a Roaring Moon. This team a little different with the Landorus, but it looks like the rest of the mods look pretty similar. So Landorus coming back, maybe. With the other Landorus, I got points.
That team is so insane.
That's the wrong one.
There are some Iron Boulder teams that I've heard of making day 2. Also, I think the team from Temu in top 32. You look at this and you see Grimmsnarl with Moltres, and you're like, yeah, I've seen this one. Nasty Plot, no. No, we don't got time for Nasty Plot. I'm clicking Fire Errata from the get-go.
This
I
is
always love.
this is Paraflinch. This
Yes, I always love it with Thunderwave. I was about to say the same thing. Running Thunderwave with your Fiery Wrath and just say you don't get to play the game at least most of the time, or some of the time, at least a decent amount of the time.
Man, I went to a PC yesterday.
My,
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say this was my round one opponent in day two, and my first ever streamed match at a major. And when I got the sheet and took a look at this, I, to say the least, had absolutely no idea what I was going against. It was definitely a funny one to get paired into.
I would be scared. I would be scared. I'd be like, what do you know that I don't? What is happening? What is going to happen to me? Like, especially when you're in those type of matchups, those are the situations where you are at a bit of a disadvantage for running a known, standard-ish type team. They're like, okay, I've seen these Pokemon before. I know what to do. And you have to start thinking. But the reason that, you come out on top in those situations is because you're using the best Pokemon in the business. And so it's usually things will work out.
And I think that part of the reason that the core four of Regibolt, Incin, Rillaboom, Urshifu has just become so omnipresent is because it is so good against all this jank stuff. Like all this jank stuff just kind of like, it feels like a lot of the more rogue teams kind of fall apart to that sort of fire, water, grass setup on Backbone, where Raging Bolt is just the best setup on maybe ever, right? Like, and so it is, or Xerneas withstanding, maybe ever. And so like it's hard for teams like this, especially teams like, oh well, you have 8 turns of screens. The game's going 20 turns. Like that's not that's not enough, So I can see. I don't know. Like how did you feel the matchup was?
Yeah, so I thought that my Urshifu just doesn't care about screens. So in both games, I just got the Grimmsnarl off the field from turn 1, and combined with Icy Wind support from Flutter, I was able to take care of the Cornerstone pretty easily as well. So I didn't bring the Raging Bolt in this set, actually. Urshifu just felt extraordinarily strong into screens and with speed control and even taunt from Flutter Mane to neutralize Amoonguss, which didn't come up. But I definitely felt like I had a couple different ways to approach this matchup and a lot of tools to do so. But turns out that Urshifu can ignore another strategy in screens pretty easily.
Yeah. That on does ignore a lot of things it's not supposed to. Now I want to go all the way down to some of the bottom day 2 teams. What do you?
Yeah,
got?
can we look at Pato? He had a Pheasantipity Gastrodon.
You're right. Yeah, you're right in the neighborhood of where I was going. Pato was
Gastro.
right there. Then I wanted to look at one a couple up above Pato from Mateus. But let's talk with Pato about Pato's team first. Yeah, Pheasantipity's here. Honestly, I've tried Fez. I feel like I don't know if there's like some calcs that you need Moonblast for, but I would actually much rather run Dazzling Gleam on a mon like this because of the increased chance to hit your opponent with status fairy moves. I also really enjoyed Icy Wind on this Pokemon for similar reasons. It was just nice to have more opportunities to spread the Toxic Chain. I played with it a bit on teams in maybe E. And it wasn't like blowing me away, but like the Mon is a bit hard to kill. It would definitely be it would be fun in a format that wasn't so, I don't know, like focused around like you really, it just feels hard. Like it just feels like it just can't keep up with the best of the best Pokemon right now, but in like a bit more of a less powerful dex, it could definitely like be a menace to take down.
Mm-hmm. It's got such fantastic. Like its typing is weirdly good, but simultaneously bad. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, there's Poison Fairy checks a lot of boxes on a lot of teams, but also then like you're weak to so much random stuff. But that being said, the Toxic is especially good as the format slows down, especially into some of these slower teams. And if you're looking at, I don't know, like all the teams that try to abuse Porygon 2 and have that sit on the field as a win condition. Abuse like Dozo and have that sit on the field as a win condition. Obviously, you don't really want to take ground moves with this guy, but stuff like that. Even the Raging Bulls that try to sit on the field, you're kind of denying them that win condition with Toxic, and that's not something that we've really seen before. So Pheasantipity can either try to poison them with their attacking moves, or it can just outright say, "Nah, Porygon 2, I'm not messing around. I'm just clicking Toxic into you." All right, what's the next team we're looking at? Got no more
We've
comments.
A
almost seen
couple
the
of
full loyal three. We've seen Okie Dokie, we've seen Pheasantipity, and I don't think there are any Monkey Dory teams that I
No, where's
remember.
the monkey
No, that's the best
dory?
one.
I wanted to talk about Mateus's team a bit above that. Mateus de Mora. They have like
Did we,
four names.
did we pull that up already? I thought we pulled that one up already.
Did you pull up the Chestnut team already?
I pulled that up very briefly when we were talking about balances. Right. Hold on.
Yeah,
let me find it.
they managed to make it on stream, and they were
Here we go.
very close to taking the win too. I think they played against Pengy, and it was just so funny to see Chestnut. Like it does technically wall Landorus. You are immune to Sludge Bomb with Bulletproof, and you resist Earth Power before you Terra. And so it could be a tricky Pokemon. It has a priority move and a healing move, both moves that do very well with Belly Drum. So yeah, the Mon stats are honestly not the most impressive if you go look at them, but it was funny to see Chestnut make a run for it. I'm glad that it made it to the stream.
Yeah, Chestnut. Bulletproof is such an interesting ability. It always pops up and has very niche uses, right? So, yeah, cool to see. I think Grass Spam in generally quite good right now. If your second Grass type has a way to hit Raging Bolt, which this of course does. I think this does probably 1v1 most of the Combine Raging Bolts, right? They get to +1, and then Dragon Pulse you, and you take it, and you Drain Punch them, and you go back up to 1,000,000. So that is another cool application as well.
You guys got the triple starter team.
True.
True.
I've been saying this lately, but I think that Blastoise needs to be given Follow Me back, and then also Drizzle, so that we can just have 3 fake out pivot ability activate on switching starters, one for each type. We have Urshifu as our go-to water on these balance cores, but what we're really missing is a pivot, fake out, and then let's also give it Follow Me and an ability activate on switch and Drizzle for Blastoise. Blastoise could be super sick.
No, Donald has that opinion too. He says Incineroar is based. Make more Incineroars. Right, and Rillaboom is kind of an Incineroar. It's a fake out. Its ability comes in on summon or on when it places on the field. Sorry, I play too much Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's got a pivoting move. Like it checks all the boxes. Even like a lot of these Pokemon, low key, are sort of Incineroar clones, but like it's just role compression, right? That's all it is. It's just like, hey, these Pokemon, these starters especially, are not good unless you give them the ability to do 2 or 3 different things that everyone is trying to do on their teams. And so, yeah, give Blastoise the ability to click fake out, pivot, and then do one more thing, which in this case is, set up Rain. Or, I don't know, anything else. Like
Follow Me, dude. Even just Follow Me would be awesome.
It needs one more tool. That's it.
I think that if we got the Follow Me set, I was really hoping it would get Follow Me along with Magmar and Electivire. That would actually be so fun. Mon's got okay stats, just okay stats, but yeah, Swampert's missing a few too many things. Swampert doesn't have the fake out, or it does have. I do know it gets Flip Turn. We had some fun with Flip Turn Swampert back in one of the formats. I don't remember
Series
which
7.
one.
Yes, the Natex, yeah. With Yawn and with Yawn and with Rillaboom, yeah, that was sick.
That was too funny. Okay, so I think that's about it for EUIC teams that I think are worth talking about. There's a lot of stuff that.
Tim, did you have any crazy teams you want to talk about, maybe that you faced in your run?
Yeah, I think one of the round 4, it was my opponent's first major. She said she has gone to the local scene and had a lot of success, and she pulled up with her Illumise plushie, and I was just making small talk with her, trying to make her feel comfortable at her first event, and I asked her if she brought Illumise, like just joking around since she had the plushie, and then when she slid the team sheet over, she in fact did.
Hell yeah!
And it was kind of scary. I mean, it had the fake tiers for Archaludon, Fluttermane, and Landorus. Had the Prankster Tailwind. It had Rain Dance to enable the Wellspring and the Sandsear Storm and the Electro Shot from Archaludon. Luckily, I was able to utilize my support Flutter well to just taunt the Illumise, and then my Urshifu took advantage of the rain very much and just kind of kept pinning down the slot that was not Illumise and slowly killing all of the friends. But shout outs to her at her first event, and yeah, Illumise was definitely one of the scarier things, just in the sense of never expecting to play it and not having any thoughts heading into that matchup before seeing the plushie.
I remember that mon doing okay. I think Carson was using it in Reg E?
Reg
I think
D?
Strider
That
as
sounds right.
well.
Yeah, Marcus was using it. There were a couple people using it.
Yeah. Yeah. That one's cool. But
I don't know if I had any other teams that I wanted to talk about. I guess we can cover the smart monies because we had smart monies.
I was going to mention the smart monies. So Nails had Burns, who I think unfortunately didn't make it to the second day.
No.
Desu, I believe, did, and so did Alex Gomez.
Yep, and Alex did a little better. Desu did not make cut. I think got top 32 or something like that. But did Desu like top 32 like the fourth straight internet or something like that? Where is he? No.
He got top 64, 10-5 finish. But Alex Gomez top 4. Looks like I am this week's smart money winner. Let's go ahead and talk about Orlando now, though, because Orlando is the one coming up. And I think I bumped the difficulty up to 4 out of 5 because I realized that there are 1 billion people going to this tournament. Like, what the heck?
I mean, remember, Orlando was the biggest tournament ever before this year's Charlotte, right? So it's very cheap to fly to, especially from everywhere in the East Coast, and it's also very accessible from LATAM, I think. So it had a cap of 900, I think, and it did not fill up. So there are still slots available. So it's not too late, Alex. If you want to book a last minute flight to Orlando, you can still do it. I heard.
Okay, you're selling me on it. I'll tell you how much they are right now. I'll go look.
I did look. I saw that. Okay, I'm not kidding about this. I saw that Americans kind of flopped EUIC except for Tim. So Americans who were like in the day 2 race kind of flopped EUIC, and I was like, I wonder if I just booked Orlando and I booked one of the Puerto Rico special event and LA if I could make day 2. And no, I still cannot. But I did look at flights, and there was a reasonable flight as of last week.
All right, Adi, I have 2 options. All right, you can tell me which one seems better.
Okay.
I can either get there with Delta for $962, but you got to consider that it's minus 16% emissions, so at least there's that. And then the other option is we can go via Frontier. I don't get a bag, and it's a 28-hour total transit time because of some layovers.
Well, you weren't.
But that one's only 513. So
you weren't planning on staying for more than a weekend, anyways, right? So you don't really need more than a backpack. I think. I think it's probably okay, right?
Yeah, Spirit can get me there in 14 hours. Only one 7-hour layover in the middle of that for 710.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Good middle ground, good like Goldilocks flight. That's kind of what we're looking for. So, Gina, is it okay if I book this now? She had her headphones on. She said yes.
Should I book this flight that gets me to Orlando at 2 a.m. the day of the tournament? I don't even have to get a hotel room that night, right? Like I could just I just show up. All right, Orlando regionals. Yeah, like we mentioned, Tim, you are going to Orlando, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So we have at least one representative. Alex and I both are choosing not to go to this event. Alex, of course, being on the opposite end of the country, and me realizing that Orlando fucking sucks. I'm sorry. We all
look at the preview image.
We went last year. So for those who didn't go last year, it's on a street called International Boulevard, which is just the biggest tourist trap imaginable. Like. It is right. You can actually see the map right. It's right over here, I think, on Universal Boulevard. This is where it is, right? I think. I don't remember. But it is just
it's the blue. It's the Orange County.
It's the blue, right? Center, yeah. And there are more food options than this, but they are all like overpriced, kind of shitty chain restaurants. There's some like stuff to do, but it's like I don't know, like mini golf and amusement park stuff, like carnival rides and stuff, and it's all like It just gives me every single thing gives me tourist trap vibes.
It was all just so resorty, and it was my first time going to Olive Garden, for better or for worse. I Wow. What a memorable experience being in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, well, Alex, we had a very memorable experience last time in Orlando, Florida. So we shared a moment.
That's true. I do remember that. I like to forget, but I do remember. Um, but let's go ahead and talk about the past regionals. We can do it front to back or back to front, whichever way you want, Audie. But I think it usually makes sense to go into the past because uh, the more recent ones are going to be more understandable for people.
All right, so we're starting with Orlando 2016, won by Ian McLaughlin. Yeah, I don't
Or
know.
William Collins. I think Ian was at UIC. I could see Ian being back here. And then we see third and fourth, Ashton and Wolf. I think Ashton's going to be there. I'm not
So
100%.
Ashton and Wolf notably would play in the finals of this tournament a few years later. So,
Right. Pretty funny. I don't think Gio's going.
Yeah. Well, so
and
Gio
looking at
is
the rest of these names.
Gio is in the day two race. I don't know how many regional finishes he has, but yeah, I unless he's really really committed to trying to get that travel award, I don't think he's going.
I want to shout out the Shift Tree at 7th place because that guy does not have Wind Rider. What are you doing, Shift Tree? How did you get
That's
invited to
chlorophyll.
this?
What's the problem?
What is the problem?
Yeah.
Daytona Beach 2017, won by Evie over Alberto at the finals. Oh man, not the Evie.
Yeah.
Um,
This was a tournament. This was post Worlds
Right.
too, and so actually for context, Alberto had been. This was like one of the biggest hot streaks I've seen in Pokemon. Was post Worlds Alberto. He was just so good. He just coming off a win.
it was like
Hartford,
Riley.
I think. Yeah.
It was basically like Riley this year, post Worlds.
So I think if he won this, he would have had back-to-back regional wins. But no, he lost the finals to Jeremy. Shout out to my boy Don Check and Carson Confer for third and fifth place respectively. Don is he's not going to be my smart money pick, but he's also got some heat cooking. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he. Hopefully he's going to make it too. He's my boy.
Yeah, so Don will be there. That's another good shout.
He is a Florida man, so he is a local. I don't know if I think Emily is another local in top 8. Using a snow team. Florida local, especially back in the day, have a reputation of being a little on the wilder side, as you can see with both Dawn and Emily's teams. So keep that in mind.
Emily's team is hype. Okay, so the next one is there's 2 in 2019. This first one is in.
This was
looks like they're actually both Ultra Series.
Yeah, so there's one that was this was the first ever event in Ultra Series. This was a week before EUIC, and wait, this is the wrong Michael, by the way. This is Mike D'Angelo who cut this event, by the way, not Michael Abdel Messi. I might know Mike D'Angelo cut this event. And I know he got top 4 at it because he reminds me he's gotten top 4 at a regional all the time. 69 players, by the way, so fake ass cut. Just to be clear. But
Well, I wanted to look at the numbers, by the way, until Orlando 2023, Audie. I actually had not been looking at the players. I think it just steadily goes down.
No,
I think it's 150 in 2016.
you can't
Then
spoil. You can't spoil the
85.
last one. You can't spoil the last one. We got to get there.
Fine. Go ahead.
But I will point out, I think Ashton's cut every single one of these that we've pulled up. Did he miss cut at one of them?
Yeah, he wasn't in there in 17.
He wasn't there in 17. Okay, but he cut. I think he's cut all the other ones. And then same with James Beck has also cut. I think almost all of these. So a few similar names, and then a few names that I don't recognize.
Ashton has some Florida energy, if I'm being honest. So I feel like, yeah, it powers him up.
But yeah,
Let's
the last one. So we had the first event of Ultra Series. We also had the last event of Ultra Series. This event, I believe, is the smallest regional ever. It had 35 masters playing. It's a whole ass regional. And so for context, this was November 30th, 2019, and I believe the previous week Sword and Shield had released. So no one wants to play Ultra Sun Ultra Moon after Sword and Shield had released. After we were playing Dynamax, the first week at Dynamax, trying to figure out that Togekiss is good, like grassroots tournaments instead of playing in this regional. Also, this was Thanksgiving weekend, which for those of you who are not Americans, Thanksgiving you traditionally go and spend time with your family, which means that 1, flights are super expensive because everyone is traveling that weekend. But 2, like most people go and spend time with their family. Renee and Bingchi get a pass for this because they are not American and it's not really celebrated outside of America. And Brady gets a pass for this because his family probably lives next door to the convention center. But everyone else, what are you doing here at this event in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon on Thanksgiving weekend? Go home. Go touch some grass. Go spend some time with your family. Why are you here? That's my take on this event.
The format was too fun. Everyone was having so much fun playing that they couldn't stop. They couldn't put the game down. Everyone loved Ultra Series.
Yep.
But we kind of failed to mention names in both of the Ultra Series ones, so I do want to mention those really quick. In the previous one, James Beck, I don't know if he's going or not, but obviously a name to watch out for. And let's see, I could see Brian going. I don't know about James Evans. Is James Evans going to this one? Hard to say.
I don't know, but he is an East Coast player, so I assume he is.
Yeah, and then and the other one, Joe, probably going. Joe goes to like everything.
Mm-hmm.
Then Steven, maybe, big maybe.
I think so, probably.
And then there's Ashton again. So let's go ahead and talk about Ashton one more time here in Orlando 2023. This one actually in Orlando. You know, we had a couple of Daytona runs there, but yeah, this was the previous biggest tournament ever of last year, and Wolf won it over Ashton in the finals. James and Chuppa in third and fourth. Is Chuppa going to this one? I feel like I should know this.
Chuppa said he's not going. He's taking a break.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, Carson's not going. I don't think Emilio's going. I'm actually not sure if Toller's going. He might be going. Or Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Sure
I can see Toller being there.
But this was the first event of Series 2. And of course, I think also the first event of Series 2. This was the last event, I believe, where we had 10 rounds of Swiss day one. I think this was the last event, at least in North America. I know Alex and I, like I mentioned, we played in round 10. We had both locked up cut, so it was kind of a meaningless game. And you can hear me here in 10th, and Alex, I think you lost in top 32, right? So we both cut the event.
One of the last meaningless games, huh? Because this was just before we got Day 2 Swiss, huh?
This was the last event before we had Day 2 Swiss. And
yeah,
I think the reason that we got Day 2 Swiss was because we were there until past midnight getting our hack checks. We literally, like 10 rounds plus hack checks was absurd. It was awful. We were there past midnight, and then we were told to be back there at 7:30. We got, I think, 7 hours of sleep max.
Yeah, that evening, as awful as it was, yeah, I remember getting like fucking IHOP afterwards, past midnight. Yeah, that was silly.
Yeah. So hopefully Orlando runs a little more smoothly this time. Hopefully they don't have a printer malfunction like they did last time and delay round 1 by an hour and a half. You can tell why I don't want to go back to Orlando, right? So with that, yeah, I guess I don't know. Is there anything else to talk about for Orlando Regionals logistically, or do you just want to hop into Smart Money?
No, I don't think there's anything else to mention. Let's go ahead and start picking people for this tournament. So yeah, we usually let the guests go first. Tim, do you have a Smart Money pick for people that are going to Orlando, or one player that you think could win it all or go as deep as possible?
Yeah, so he did really well at Vancouver, and unfortunately at EUIC he lost his matchup to the Connecting Flights. But I'm going to go with Brady, Florida local as well. Feels like Regulation F has really been a strong format for him, and I think there's no way that he misses transportation to this one. So I think after losing to James Evans in finals, who went from runner-up to champion, I think Brady's also going to have a strong back-to-back tournament as well.
All right. I guess then that's going to be me next. And do we know if Ashton's going? Because I think I'd like to grab him if he is.
I don't have confirmation either way, but
yeah, I'll grab him anyways. And let's let's just lock in Ashton. The most boring pick, but why not?
So I've got a pick too. Oh, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Yeah, that's it really though. Ashton is going, says okay, nice. So Adi, what do you got?
I've got the newest Florida local, and Brady used to be the best Florida local. Not anymore. We've actually got a new one. We got Riley Factura is a
True.
Florida man now. He is maybe the only person I've ever heard of who moved to Florida and stopped being a Florida man and like mellowed out. It's kind of strange, but he also has. I think he's #1 in championship points in North America this year, or #2, something like that. He's right up there. This is now his local regional. He's been on a hot streak all year, so he's my smart money pick for this event. I think noticeably, you can tell how Tub is feeling based on how many Tubbers Alex and I pick for smart money.
I guess that's fair. That's fair. I don't even know how many of us are going.
Everyone I know who's going is absolutely in Doomer mode right now. I know Rajan's going. I know Don is going. I think Jody's going. So.
Oh, is Jody going to this one?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. London. Is this the Orlando thread?
I don't know.
No.
I don't even know if we have. Apparently, if I don't start a thread, no one starts one. But Jody did tweet.
Yeah.
He tweets a lot, but one of his stream tweets implied he was going to Orlando. So I'm pretty sure he's going.
Jody tweeted?
No, he would never.
He would never. Okay.
But yeah.
Well,
so,
I think that's it for this week's topics. Besides any Regulation G, I feel like there's probably not too much to say. The format's not like live yet, and so it's just limitless tournaments and showdown. I've been streaming a lot of it lately, so if anybody here has already been like watching me stream, you've heard most of my takes there. But as someone who isn't going to get to play it for a little bit, you have to focus up on Reg F a little bit longer. I want to hear just your initial thoughts on Regulation G. Do you like single restricted, and what are some of the ones you think are going to be top tier, Tim?
Yeah, I have not played a game just yet.
That's smart.
Been too busy being caught in the Raging Bolt mirrors. I'm actually playing one in the background right now. But I mean, I definitely agree that Calyrex seems to be the mon to watch out for right now. Both forms, honestly. I think the Ice Rider can be a pretty cool call into a lot of teams that go very fast in this upcoming format, and that's at least the one I'm looking towards right now. I'm thinking back to the Alcremie days with you guys. I think we gotta pull it back, but yeah, I think Calyrex of both forms. Maybe they don't enable their partners as much as like a Groudon, Koraidon, Miraidon, Kyogre, but can just so quickly snowball games and things can be out of control. And I think we've all seen at least a couple replays that CSR is doing just way too much damage into things like Incineroar and King Gambit and Resist that are supposed to check it, and it just completely does not care at all. So I think both Calyrex forms totally agree have to be the top two to look out for right now.
It's silly that Ice Rider caught a nerf and they just did nothing about Shadow Rider, man. Like, I still think Ice Rider is going to be top tier despite the nerf, but I think Shadow Rider could have caught a 10 BP nerf on its move too. Like, come on.
It won Worlds. What do you mean you didn't nerf it?
Actually, it's funny to think Urshifu Water didn't catch any nerfs, right? When Ursh Dark did, and for a while, Ursh Water was, like, for most of this gen, I'd say Ursh Water has been the more impressive one, and Ursh Dark had its period in Reg F, but it's kind of coming back as an Ursh Water format. So it's just so funny that was the one that dodged the nerfs, and then they were like, we got a big nerf for Urshifu. You guys are tired of these Pokemon, right? How about 5 BP off Wicked Blow? Does that sound good to everyone? Have fun. Yeah, and that's where we are.
Maybe it's because they balanced it around like the pre-nerf Tinglu and Chiyu and stuff. Remember when those were we got the space stats leaked for those, and they nerfed it like day 0 of the game being released.
Right.
Yeah. So they have a balancing team. They work very hard, and they nerfed it. They balanced the game around Tinglu being really, really good. That's why Shadow Rider wasn't hit. That's the only explanation I had to get. That's my.
Tinglu's going to be pretty alright in this format. I might eventually. I've been talking about it a bit. I might eventually do a tier list for the non-restricteds. It's just that there's like 400 of them, and I have to filter out like. I don't want to rank Zangoose. I don't want to tell you my Reg G Zangoose opinions or how well Survivor is going to do.
You
So I have to
spend-
grab out the like actual metamons and put them in there, and then start to ranking them. It's just such a pain.
or just do one stream where you rank every single Pokemon in order. All 800 in terms of viability.
All 800. Oh, that's
in terms
actually,
of viability
let's do
in
that.
Reg G. In fact, yeah.
Yeah, we'll put Shedinja bottom tier in DNF. It did not make it into the game.
Right. It's actually the only metric by which objectively is Caterpie in the game? I don't even know. Like the Caterpie is better than Arceus.
Wonder Guard and Terastallization.
It would not be fun. Not fun. But then it's countered by Stellar. Stellar would hit it always.
I'll give my one quick Reg G take because I haven't played this format and have not played Reg F other than the locals that I go to. I think that your tier list, I mean, we've talked a lot, so a lot of our opinions are pretty similar. But I think that you are sleeping on the bikes. I think both the bikes are better than B tier. I think they are better than Zamazenta. I think they are better than Kyogre. I think they're probably worse than Terapagos, but I put them in A tier pretty solidly. I think that Miraidon, when I've been testing it, has been absolutely nuts. The only thing is that the mirror fucking sucks. I played a mirror where he both played Bundle Miraidon and clicked Icy Wind and an attack, and they won both speed ties, both games, and I was just pissed. But other than that, it's a super fun team. I know there's a good Koraidon team out there because I know that people keep complaining they're weak to it but no one ever builds a good Koraidon team. So that's going to happen real soon, I'm sure. Hopefully we get some online tournaments. And actually, now that I'm rambling, Victory Road actually just announced their first big tournament for Regulation G that I guess we could shout out as well. But that's my one Regulation G take that differs from yours over the last week or so of playing. Where is it? It's here.
Let's see.
Yeah.
The Victory Road, the VR Spring Challenge. It's $10 entry, and so prizes based on attendance. Might be down to play in that if I can get my Calyrex in order in time, because God, I know that we've talked about that plenty, but that mon is one of the worst things they've done for accessibility. Not to mention that whatever horse you go with, both really might want specific IVs. You want 0 attack IV on Calyrex Shadow because the mon is quadruple weak to foul play, and so it really does matter. And then on Ice Rider, yeah, a lot of people might say you want 0, but you also might just want anywhere between 0 and 31, and the fact that you can only get that one before you're just kind of done. Not to mention it's on a game, it's DLC for a game that we're not even playing on. I hate it. It's so dumb.
But thankfully you have your Ice Rider from Generation 8 that you can just transfer over and should be good for these tournaments, right?
Yes, I do. I have to figure out. I gotta even remember. It uses because then yeah, you can't even use the same Calyrex for Ice Rider and Shadow Rider because you have to have 0 attack IV in one and 31 attack IV on the other. So I think the one that I caught, I actually got a 4. I think it has 3 IVs guaranteed. I had 4 IVs guaranteed, and not guaranteed. I got 4 IVs, and I don't know. I think I got speed. So am I just not running a good Ice Rider then? I might want a slower one. It just sucks. Do I want to replay the whole game to get another one? No. I hate this.
Tim, did you start playing in Sword and Shield or in Scarlet and Violet? I forget.
I started playing around Players Cup 3 time frame. First using the Lapdog team.
Lapdog!
Players Cup 4 with Solgaleo, Yveltal, and I really wish we did have Yveltal in Scarlet and Violet as well. I think it would be another helpful mon against CSR, but I also have a Calyrex, and I have no idea what its IVs are at all. You made me start thinking that as well. I gotta boot up my Sword and Shield when we finish up today.
Yeah, I'm mad that I didn't get the GameStop Shiny Zacian or Zamazenta. Because, back then, I just knew that I could trade for one. But nowadays, you can't reliably trade for one without, thinking about, was this hacked? Was this duped? Was this cloned or something? And so I don't have one of my own, but I wish I did. But I wasn't thinking back then. Back then, things were a little more casual.
And I'm you know what? I'm pulling up our old teams. And did we really run a 4 speed IV on our Ice Rider at NAIC? Was that a thing we did? I'm
Yeah,
pulling it up on
yeah.
Showdown. So yeah, so that's also just a pain in the butt to. What if we want to run a 0 speed IV this time? What if we want to run a 26 speed IV this time? Like the fact that Ice Rider genuinely does want to play with the speed stat, be good in Trick Room, but also a lot of these Ice Riders like to we've seen just like we've seen He's Queen Bear. A lot of these Ice Riders also like to go fast with Tailwind or with Electro Web or something like that. They want to be in this kind of middling speed tier. Maybe they want to manipulate their IVs. That is really frustrating to obtain as well. Shadow Rider, not so much. They're probably going to be changing a little less, but yeah, that's one thing.
But you still got to get a 0 attack IV on that one, and then again, the issue with that is like you can't run the same Calyrex for both horses because I think it uses Calyrex's IVs instead of the horses, which is troll.
Yep.
Even if it used the horses' IVs, like it'd be fine because you can get the horses in Indigo Disc. And so then you could maybe soft reset to get more in the Indigo Disc, but the stupid horse rider guy that we have to use, that guy is still trapped in Sword and Shield. I hope they get some kind of event for that guy, but every time we hope for one of these things, it never happens.
Right. It really would be easy just to do a Calyrex event. Do 2 Calyrex events. Do one 0 speed IV, do one 0 attack IV, right? Like, it's not that hard. Genuinely. And, like, just make VGC so much more accessible for everyone at 0 cost. Heck, partner with GameStop and make some money off it, too, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know why they don't do stuff like that. It just feels like a no-brainer to me.
Before using balance at EUIC, I was more of a Trick Room player, and I really do wish we had the Rusty bottle cap item that we've been talking about for a while. I feel like that would also help this out a lot, as long as you were able to switch back and forth between that and the normal IV raising item. I think that could help a lot, generally speaking, too, but also think there's 0 chance we get that.
I'm praying. Maybe Gen 15. Maybe by then.
All right. So I think that's probably going to wrap up our Reg G discussion. I don't want to stay on here too long. We can move on to the Calc is Right, unless there's any final thoughts y'all have.
No, let's do it.
All right. So the Calc is Right. Tim, I know you've watched the show before, so you're familiar with the rules. But for anyone who has not seen this before, essentially what we are going to do is each of us is going to, one at a time, name a damage calc, and the rest of us are going to have to guess a number. That number is hopefully going to be in this range right here, this percentage range for how much damage the move is going to do. If we are in this range, we would we'd get it right. So if I said for Abominable Snow Blizzard into this Abominable Snow, if I said 37, I'd be right. If I said 34, I'd be right. If I said 42, I'd be wrong. I'd be out of the range. And so, yeah, it's just as simple as that. And so, Tim, you said you came prepared with the calc. You were that excited. What you got?
Yeah, no, I love this section, and always hope to have the opportunity to have one. So mine is inspired by 2 things. First, Raging Bolts, just because we've been talking about it all podcast. But my main enemy is Dondozo. I'm a certified Dondozo hater.
Let's go.
My calc is going to be +6 Raging Bolt with 124 special attack modest, and we're clicking Thunderclap into an Oblivious Dondozo with 4 HP, 172 SPDF.
And does it have the boosts or no?
It's +6, but it does not have a booster energy or magnet.
No. The Dondozo, does it have +2 from Commander?
Oh no, it's alongside a Gouging Fire.
All right, let's go. We're killing this guy. Let's go.
This guy's getting blown up for his crimes.
Yeah, dude, I want that guy dead. Oh man, it makes me think of that one video going around like, let's kill this guy. Let's beat him to death with hammers. Like that's what we're doing.
Wait, and you said Oblivious, not unaware.
He's not unaware, but we're just killing this guy.
This is just a I was like, wait, are you baiting me here? Like,
no, we're just killing this guy. I'm loving it. I'm loving the energy. This is gonna be tough though, because these numbers get pretty weird, pretty big.
I
should
brought
have
a standard team, but I'm not bringing a standard calc.
I have my number, I guess.
All right, hold up. I got to figure out how to think about this.
Like no, like base typing. We're
Okay.
talking about this is super effective, right?
I'm figuring out how much I'd expect it to do to a Dozo and then multiplying it by 8. So I've got a number.
I'm ready as well. So pick someone to start.
Oh, right. Alex.
All right. I'm gonna guess 324. I don't know. This is so hard.
I think it does. I think it probably does about 30% to a +2 boosted unaware Dozo, and therefore it's going to do 8 times as much damage as that, if my math is right. And therefore it's going to do, if I said about 30%, I'm going to go a little under that. I'm going to say 230%.
Was there not supposed to be an extra +2 or ×2 on that, Audie? Because
+6 is 4x, and then get rid of their +2 is 8x, right?
and then super effective. But oh wait, no, I guess the super effective either way. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so let's plug it in. We said Raging Bolt. Sure, it can be a self test.
124 modest.
124 modest. At +6 special attack using Thunderclap into Dondozo.
I think it's just the standard one that you have right there.
For 172. Except it is oblivious.
Exactly.
Thunderclap is doing, if I got this right, it's doing 247 to 292.
Yeah, that's what I have to.
No!
I thought, you know what? Saying 30 times 8, 240, I was really close, even though I said 230. I was pretty happy with that estimate.
Wait, so what was your number, Audie? It was
We
230.
pulled 3 fishes instead of 2. We were so close.
I said,
If it Dynamaxed, we still get it.
I said that this calc would be about 30%, and I guess my calc, I underestimated the Raging Bolt just a little bit, but all right, Alex, do you have ready, or do you want me to go?
No, I'd like you to go. I need a sec.
All right, so I've got 2 that I need you to compare, and so we've got a 0 attack IV Abomasnow, clicking Foul Play into a Calyrex Shadow, and so the 2 calcs are the Calyrex Shadow that is timid with 0 attack IVs, and the Calyrex Shadow that is timid with 31 attack IVs, taking a Foul Play from a Abomasnow or whatever.
Can it be foul
and
play
we'll say 4
from
defense, 0
Porygon?
HP. Sure.
Can it be foul play from Porygon?
Foul Play
Actually,
from
no, can it be
+1
can it be
attack.
foul play from Grafai?
Wait, attack a stab? Is that a dark type? No, it's not.
It's not a dark type.
normal
I also
poison
am not 100% sure it gets foul play. I feel
I
like
think
it
it
does
does.
though.
I use that guy in my gameplay through. I think it's Foul Play.
Okay, what about, can it be Thunderous? Let's do Thunderous.
I think Thunderous might be too strong. I think that might actually knock out. Can we keep it at Porygon 2? But don't worry, the Porygon 2...
I want Abomasnow.
Abomasnow? Okay. It's soundproof Abomasnow, though, just to be clear.
Oh, dang it. It won't die to the hail chip then.
Yeah. So Abomasnow, Foul Play into Calyrex Shadow, both with 0 attack IV and with a 31 attack IV and a minus attack nature.
So we're
And
picking
let's
which
say-
one does more? I think it does more to the 31 attack IV.
But I'm actually asking you for 2 numbers this time. Or
I know.
or a number and a percentage increase. Either one's fine. I don't care. The same thing, right? But yeah.
All right, I'm thinking. This is tough.
The one of them
I
was
got
into
my number.
3,
I
one
got my number.
attack IV, and the other was into 0.
Yeah,
Yes.
so the
Perfect.
one Calyrex has a 0 attack IV, one has a 31 attack IV. They're both timid. They're both 4 defense, 0 HP.
And I'm giving you the difference.
And you're just
How
giving
many
me,
attack boosts does
a
it have?
number for the lower one and a number for the higher one. I'm
Okay.
doing 2 calcs.
Okay.
You never told us how many attack boosts the Abomasnow has.
It's got a +6 attack Foul Play into. Do you want me to give Calyrex an attack modifier too?
No.
+6
All
attack.
right,
0
but yeah, that's a little brutal. Tinglu's next to the Calyrex.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
right.
as
I got my
all,
number.
just like my favorite team has the Tinglu next to the Calyrex. You know, like that's just normal. Why wouldn't it be there? No.
Yep.
All right.
I'm locked in though.
You locked in, Tim?
All right,
You got
I'm
an
ready.
idea? All right, Alex.
Yeah.
What's your number?
So the lower number, I guess 0 attack IV. I'm gonna go with 68,
Okay.
and then that's 0 attack IV. And then if it's a 31 attack IV, I'm gonna go with 91, like something like crazy high, I
91.
don't know.
Okay, 68 to 91. You're saying there's going to be a 23% boost, right? Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be big, but maybe I'm dumb.
All right, Tim. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty close. I think the 31 attack IV is still not going to get the OHKO. I think it's going to fall a little short, around 90%. And the 0 IV, I think closer to about 75%.
Okay, so you said 75 and
these are some
90.
tricky calcs.
and 90. All right, so foul play from this guy is doing to 0 attack IV is doing 66.2 to 80. So, Tim, you were in the range, right? You said, what did you say? I've already forgotten.
I said 75.
You said 75,
I
yeah.
said
And then Alex, you
68.
said, oh, you were in the range. You said 68.
I
And
was
then,
68, so we're both in
okay.
there.
And then 31, it is 77.7 to 91.4. So I think you were both in there again, right?
Oh my god, we were both just barely in there. Let's go. We
Yeah.
cooked.
Yeah. So if you look at it, 77 to 91 versus 66 to 80, it's about a 10 to 15% increase percentage point increase in damage. So that's kind of what you're losing out on. But I would say if you are soft resetting for a Calyrex Shadow, like look at how much damage you're doing with 4 versus like 3 versus 5 or whatever number you end up with. Because like it actually is somewhat considerable, but you know it's not that. 31 is 15%. 4 is a little different. So keep that in mind if you're soft resetting for a perfect one, I guess. So you can run the calcs. You know exactly how much damage you're actually taking extra. And with that, Alex, you are up.
Cool. I think I'm gonna go with a calc that please just use strength sap. Yeah, that is a good point. You can use strength sap to determine the attack IVs. People have cool methods for that. If you need to understand it, just look it up. I'm sure there's a guide, but the strength sap thing is really cool for learning things. You can also do speed stat stuff. I think that's just like pretty easy though. You just have to like set the Pokemon to like 1 point faster than what you're looking for or whatever.
Well, speed stat you normally final gambit, but you can't final gambit the Calyrex. Actually, you can, right? Because it's not a ghost.
Wait, speed stat you final gambit? Why is it that you final gambit?
Oh, sorry, not speed stat. That's HP stat. That's 31 HP. Never mind. Speed stat you just. I mean, you. I don't know. I know for it's been a minute. Yeah, I don't know. I know I soft reset for the Chiyu before Worlds, and I got a 2 IV1 on my second reset. It's like, nah, I can soft reset for a 0. This is like on the flight to Worlds. So I was like, I have plenty of time. I see soft reset for like 4 hours on the flight, and then finally got another 2 IV and was like, I'm done. This is fine. I can work with this. So that one I did. I ran the foul play calc, and I was like, this does not make a difference. I can't believe I spent 4 hours doing this.
So last time we were playing with restricted Pokemon, Alecki was a big guy. People were using a lot of Regieleki, and
actually, you know, he was a really big guy a lot of the time. Now that you think about it,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But Alecki can still do some pretty funny stuff in this format. We've been playing around a lot with it on stream, and so I want to see if you guys can figure out how much a Choice Specs Modest 252 Electro Ball from Alecki with Terra Electric is doing to, let's just do the Calc Default Incineroar. So if you could pull up the Calc Default Incineroar so that we know what spread that is.
236, 124, careful. With 84 speed IVs, or 84 speed EVs.
Wait, it has 84 speed EVs?
Yeah, it's 91 speed.
Okay, do we want to calculate against that one that fast? I say get rid of the speed though. Let's drop it down to just 4.
Just 4? Just 4. Okay.
I actually don't know how much this changes the base power because for people that don't know, and I'll tell you guys this right now, Gyro Ball is like a very, I don't know if for a better lack of a better word, is it granular? It goes digit by digit. Gyro Ball can be like 139 base power.
Okay. So Gyro Ball is continuous, is continuous?
Maybe that's it. And then whereas like Electro Ball is like Heavy Slam where it is threshold based. And so it is looking for 5x on max to get max power. Otherwise, it's going to be linear, is what TRE is saying.
Sure. Yeah. My one story about that, I did actually know that because I played Carson in a Wacko World Tour set where we played past formats, and I knew that he liked to use Electro Ball specs. Not Regieleki, he was Tapu Koko at the time, and so I took Rajan's team. That had, and I put some speed EVs on the Clefairy, so I'd live the attack because it was more efficient than putting special defense EVs in the Clefairy. And I counter-teamed him like that.
Rajan told the same story on stream earlier when we were playing with Alecki, is that on that Clefairy, it was more efficient to EV in speed than it was special defense to take less from Electro Ball. It was very silly.
All right. So yeah,
Anyways, we're talking about Modest Terra Electric Choice Specs, Electro Ball from Regieleki. This is with a nerf, remember, into this Incineroar, but I want you to chop it down to 4 speed IVs because I don't want it to be that fast.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, IVs or EVs.
Sorry, 4 speed EVs, not actually a negative speed or anything. Just like they just put 4.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Okay. That's what I got. I have a number. You said, are you modest or timid, Aleki?
Modest.
Okay. Yeah.
Tim, you ready?
As ready as I'm gonna be.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that it's time for you to go first. So what do you got?
Okay. So we have the specs and the Terra Electric as the multipliers here. And the 4 speed IVs. I'm gonna go with 170%.
170.
170.
Okay.
So my take.
I'm a bit worried and a bit questioned. Adi, what do you got?
I think that without the Terra, I feel like you missed the kill. I feel like Incineroar is pretty bulky. It's built for special attacks. So without the Terra, my guess is about 80 to 95. So with the Terra, that translates to, I think, about 100 to 130. So I'm going to go right in the middle of that. I'm going to go about 118, let's say.
All right, let's do it. I think even still with this Incineroar being at 4 EVs, it's not like max base power or anything. I think.
And you said modest, not timid, right? So you're actually even
modest, lucky. So we're even lower on the speed stat, but we do more damage technically. But
Electro Ball. So I am looking at. Am I seeing 107 to 126? Did I get that right?
Yeah, let me double check. I actually never ran the calc. I was just curious about it. And what base power does it say?
It's
we got 120, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just barely 120.
That looks...
If it was 92, it would not be 120.
Yeah, no, it looks like Adi is in there. I was nervous for him because I thought Aleki might take it better, or Incineroar might take it better. Throw on the speed EVs. Would that actually save it?
Timid actually kills.
No, sorry.
Timid kills, Modest doesn't.
Wait.
So
what did you do?
If you're Timid Aleki, you kill. You get the... Wait, why is that?
No, Modest was killing too.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Modest was killing more.
My bad.
Oh, yeah. So I meant to change the...
you said change the...
Incineroar, put some speed in.
So this is what it was here.
It 84?
And so now it does go 91? Down to 80 BP from 120 BP. Because the multiplier... So, I think the cutoff is 1/4.
Yep. So yeah, even with Modest, it cuts
old transistor. So that was the issue.
Right. Yes. The old transistor was very big. But yeah, Electro Ball, definitely pretty funny. I think the fun part about Aleki is that it's a Pokemon that can actually compete damage wise with restricteds. Whereas it's kind of important to find that because last time we played with the restricted Pokemon, we had Dynamax that made it very easy for Pokemon to keep up with the power level of a restricted legendary. You could have like a Thundurus clicking high base power moves off of its solid attack stat with a Life Orb and Defiant, and that was like very comparable to the damage output of like a Calyrex or a Groudon or something. But nowadays, it's like, what do we do to compete with the damage output of these horses? And you have to do some pretty unconventional things to make it happen, I think.
Sorry, I'm just going to toot my own horn for a second. I said without Terra, it was going to do 80 to 95%. It does 80 to 94.5%, and then I multiplied it correctly. I'm very proud of myself for that one. I killed that one.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, you were right in there.
All right. Yeah, so that is going to wrap it up from us. It is we're just hitting 9 p.m. Central Time, so right on time this time, actually. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Tub Takes. If you missed out on any part of this, you can go ahead and it'll be up on YouTube tomorrow, exclamation point YT in chat for a link to the YouTube channel. And yeah, thank you again, Tim, for coming on the channel, and congratulations again on the incredible run at EUIC. Did you have any final words, any shout outs you wanted to give?
Yeah, no, thank you again for the kind words and for inviting me. It's been something I wanted to join for a long time, so it feels really good. Shout out to Fede Campo, who helped me prepare for this tournament. To all the New York and New Jersey locals who were so kind to me, supporting me throughout the run. To a couple of my friends, Dakota, Joe, Arbin, just to name a few, who are always there for me. And I really appreciated the support from really all of the NA scene. It was a special weekend and a really cool way to cap it off by joining today. So thanks again for the invite.
Yeah, it was awesome.
All right. And so okay, so here's the deal, guys. I've heard that if you're making a push for partner on Twitch, getting a raid is actually really bad for your numbers. Like if you get a raid, you have to average 75 viewers per stream. And if you get a raid to push above that, that's like can potentially be a reason to reject it, is if you get raids to get above that average. So I'm going to tell you guys, we're not going to raid someone, but I want you guys to go to Sableye VGC. What's the shout out command? Is it SO?
I don't know how to do it.
Right.
I think you just do /shoutout.
So go to I'm just gonna type it into chat. Go to Sableye VGC. He's a good friend of mine, Ryan Lassetto, Toronto local. He got second at Vancouver Regionals last year. He's making a push for partner. So I'd really appreciate it if we don't raid someone, if you go to there instead. Yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up from us.
Let's beat that algorithm.
Yeah, we're cheating the system. Get Ryan his partner for Twitch.
Yeah. All right. So I guess before we head out, real quick, just mentioning that I'll probably be live again tomorrow, more Regulation G. So yeah, look for me then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looking forward to it. Maybe we got to plan a day to the non-restricted tier list at some point. We can do that.
Yeah. I do want to make that happen. I'm just gonna sort those Pokemon, man. I don't want to tell you my opinions on Arbok and Reg G. I don't think he's gonna hold up.
Wait, what does RVGC think? Hold up. Arbok.
No.
It's got Intimidate. Chill. It's a poison type. It's a flutter resist. All right. So with that, I think we're gonna wrap it up. But thank you all for coming by, and until next time, I will see you all later.
Peace out, peeps.